What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Champion Living Podcast, where we believe that consistency, perseverance, and not taking life too seriously are the keys to success. I'm Doug, the founder and owner and head coach of Champion Living Fitness. Each week, I'll be joined by my coaching staff with the vision of providing trustworthy information about fitness, nutrition, and mindset, and how this all applies to being a professional rodeo athlete, as well as people from all walks of life. Are you ready to become a champion? Let's go. Logan, it's good to see you.
Man, I'm back. It's good to be with the boys.
Physically, you are here and back, but how do you feel mentally? And
Yeah, I
emotionally?
mean, it's gonna take a few days. Yeah, it's
Cry
gonna
a few
take a few
times?
days to
Yeah.
no, not yet, but it's gonna take a few days to
It's
get back to the normal life. It's definitely gonna take. I'll tell you what's gonna take the longest is adjusting to going to bed before 2 a.m. So that's gonna be a little bit of a struggle. I would get back at 1:30 or so, and I'm like, I'm not even really that tired. I'll do a load of laundry, like stay up, eat a meal, go to bed. I'm like, there's no point in me rushing to sleep because anyway, it's been a crazy 3 weeks of packing some panels, but it's done now. They have a handful of rodeos left, but they're
I was
like
gonna say you're not quite
one.
done.
There's one next week at the end of next week, and after what we just lived through, one is nothing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's like, oh,
Cakewalk.
that's easy. So there's a handful left in August, but nothing like what we just went through. So it's good.
Sweet.
Yeah, live.
Good old production.
Yep.
It is crazy how your body can get in that routine of whatever you're putting it through, and you do it for a few weeks like you have been, and all of a sudden it is the new norm, and you try and get back to what was the normal, and the body has different things going on. We're going to go ahead and stay up.
It gave me a little insight into what I think what a lot of people experience as far as like my food quality has been very poor. Physical activity outside of a very physical workload, not there. Been to the gym 2 times in the last, and I can tell you this right now, I'm hurting. You know what I'm saying? Like when somebody comes to me and they're like, I can't really do this because my shoulder's messed up. I resonate with that. And a lot of it comes down to, for me, just really poor. It's just the lifestyle that I live.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The lifestyle that I live. Yeah, I stopped taking care of my body, and it's letting me know that. It's giving me the signals, brain fog, mental, like all the things. And I only know that I feel this bad because I don't usually feel this way. For most people, they go through life thinking this is just normal, and it doesn't have to be. So it just hit me the other day driving, and I was like, I think this is how a lot of people feel 24/7.
Yeah,
That's the normal
like,
for
that's
like
it's that thing you don't know how good you're supposed to feel until you feel it. And then I have that conversation with clients all the time. They're like, if they fall off the wagon for a week or two, and they're like, "Man, I'm just hurt," and it's that's how you used to feel all the time, and you just didn't know it.
Yep,
it's pretty crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
It is nuts.
The body gets used to it and becomes your normal, and you're living with pain and don't even realize it. And then, like you said, you start doing some kind of fitness or mobility, and you're consistent with even a couple weeks of it. And all of a sudden, I feel good. Where's the pain's gone? What's going on? And you have to do the thing to actually feel it. And we can say this all day that you could be in pain, not even know it. I don't know. I don't know if that's true for everybody, but if you are someone that constantly feels tight, achy, and you aren't doing some kind of strength work, some kind of mobility work, you're not doing anything besides going to work and going to sleep, I'll put all the monies on if you do something, even a little bit, 10 to 15 minutes, just getting moving, your body would change, and a lot of things would start changing. And if you could go into changing your lifestyle and going to a fitness plan with just that, like getting hooked on the feelings changing every week, if that makes sense, like how your strength changes, how your balance changes, how your mental clarity improves, and you start noticing these little benchmarks, quote unquote, along the way that you can check off every day with yourself. It's not chasing a number. It's not chasing, I don't know what I'm looking for another word, but you guys know what I'm trying to get to here. And that's something that for me, that's how I really, now that I don't have goals that relate to a sport. I just want to feel good.
Mm.
And so I know that if I feel good, I'm doing good and I'm doing enough movement. And same thing, the last few weeks I've had people in town and I've been doing active things, but I haven't been intentionally doing the things I usually do. And same thing, dude. Worn out. Been super tight. Power Pro's been saving me through that. I've been lathering that on my neck pretty much every day. Y'all, if you have sore muscles and haven't checked out Power Pro, check them out. pwrpro.com. Use our discount code Champion Living. Saves you 20%. It's a killer deal, and the product is incredible. But yeah, it's easy to fall out of the routine, but your body starts letting you know, hey man, like knocking on the door. It's time to get back to it. Let's go. What are we doing? Paul, how have you been? How'd you feel after the trip to Montana? Because we didn't
Yeah.
really do a whole lot. We did stuff, but
Yeah. Well, I mean that it's funny that we brought this up because like my hips were hurt like the whole time at your house and then even coming home the few days after and the hectic travel schedule like my friend trying to get to your house was absolute insanity and so that really kicked it off, but my hips were bugging me so bad. But like this week being back into a normal routine, I haven't even really done anything specifically like trying to remedy my hips, just getting back into my normal routine. Nutrition's on point, doing normal workouts and stuff like that. My hips feel fine. So I can definitely relate to what Logan had started talking about there. It's like when things get haywire, your body will definitely send you signals that this is not the state that it wants to be in. It's trying to get back. Like I don't even think we said this word on here in a long time, but we used to a lot. But like homeostasis, like balance. Like your body always wants to get back to balance. And so no matter which direction you're heading, it's going to give you signals that tell you, okay, we need to come back to homeostasis. And it's always going to try and find that. Pain, stress, sleep, even like skin issues, like all of those things will pop up as red flags that we are out of balance.
Yeah, that's body tells you, man, what's going on. You just got to pay attention to it. And if you never have, it makes it a little bit more difficult because you really don't know what you're looking for. But the way you get better at paying attention to those signals is by using your body and kind of testing it physically. And it's a long process, but it's a lot of fun. And like I said, we've all been working out for a fair amount of time, and it's still fun for me every day to get in there. And needless to say, I don't want to go every day, but when I do, it's still fun, even when I get in there. Just a different approach that I think people could benefit from, and it makes it a little less serious, if that makes sense. Everything in life is so serious right now.
True.
It is. We've been talking, Logan, like you've been on the road. So the last few episodes, we've been talking about building strength, building power, kind of deep dove into what that entails. Not just saying like, yeah, you get strong if you lift weights, right? We kind of really got into the nitty gritty of it. And today I want to talk about with all of us about for training for these things, how do we actually track that it's working? And we kind of just spoke about a different way of tracking that's a little less serious, but now we're talking about sports and performance side of things. We have to be serious about performance. We have to be very intentional about what we're doing. So let's get into how we track progress with our clients, some other methods that other strength and conditioning professionals use, and we're going to break those down right now. Here's the deal. Lots of rodeo gear companies are coming out, but not all are equal. Beastmaster is really setting the bar when it comes to the equipment that is built for durability and designed for success in the arena. You guys can check them out at beastmasterrodeo.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving24. That's ChampionLiving24. Going to save you a little bit at checkout. Training log is like this is how I track everything I do still. And like we said it here on the show, but the broadcast channel that I have on Instagram, that is my training log. So you guys, anybody listening, you can go look and see what it is. It's really simple because again, my goals are not to be a world champ or to be the strongest guy on earth. It's just to be a fit dude that likes to go hunting and eventually going to chase a kid around. But you can see that training logs are great because it keeps me accountable because I'm writing it every single day. I'm showing up, having to see it. And I write in my rest days. I write in how I'm feeling. I'm tracking all of those benchmarks, if you will. And we're going to get into those in a second. But when you see it on paper and see the path that you're going, it makes it so much easier to continue to go. There's been times that I don't write it down, and every day I'm lost on where I'm going because I can't remember what the hell I did yesterday. And I can't remember what I did last set sometimes. Training log is my go-to. What are your guys' thoughts on training logs?
So yeah, I've seen both sides of the spectrum as well. So when I first started working out, I was 14 years old, high school weight room, and our coaches would give us at the beginning of the off season or whatever our notebook, like spiral bound book that had our whole semester's program in there, and we had places in there where we were able to write in our reps and sets and stuff that we were given, and so we over like each block we're able to see, okay, did I increase reps, did I increase weight, what, like, you could see the numbers physically, right? Like right there. And that was cool being able to see that. And especially in that learning phase, because it was brand new to all of us. And that's, I think, what really drew me in to weightlifting and or strength training and exercise and stuff, because I could see, especially like we talked about before, those newbie gains happen
Mhm.
fast. And so when I'm able to see that progress happen so fast, I was bought in. And then, like, we had one really good coach for track, and he was like, he broke it down. Failure is a good thing. You don't always want to pick the safe spots. If you're failing on a set, that means you're pushing yourself, and then hopefully you'll grow, and then
Mhm.
you can see progress the next week. So that was another really motivating factor for me. So I saw a lot of progress my first 4 years of strength training. When I got to college, I moved away from following any specific program. I still worked out all the time because I was addicted to it. I loved it, but I had no way to track. And that's just ignorance on my part. Like, I should have seen that coming, but it almost seemed like progress stalled.
Mhm.
Unless maybe there was a couple areas where I, like bench press, I really loved doing. I would keep mental tabs on that to know where I was.
Mhm.
But overall, I wasn't tracking anything. I wasn't following anything in particular. And so I really didn't make a whole lot of progress. And it wasn't until years later, like picking up the pen and paper again to finally start tracking, that progress started happening. There's more or less just several years of maintaining there in the middle, and wasted time, really. Not wasted, but could
They're
have
still moving, still
could have
getting
been
stuff
better
done.
used. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's so easy to fall into that kinda just going through the movements, and it's not that it's counterproductive. It is productive, but it's you could get so much further if we actually had a game plan we're tracking
For
where we're
sure.
going. And we just touched on 2 different tracking methods, right? There's digital apps you can use, you can write it in your notes on your phone, but there's pen and paper is great as well. So, 2 different ways. Logan, what were you gonna say, bro?
Nothing. I was just gonna say, you asked what our thoughts are on training logs. Everybody needs a training log. If you
Mhm.
aren't using one, like there's no. I mean, it just like Paul described there about the progress he was able to see when he was tracking everything down. It's universal. There's never been anybody that's gone in the gym that's tracked the weights and sets for 6 months that's been like, man, I'm not going anywhere. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? But it's
Yeah.
easy to go in there without tracking and just like, what do I feel like doing today? And go for 6 months and not see progress. So everybody needs
Mhm.
to track. I personally use True Coach, which is the same app that
Yes.
we use,
Yep.
and I put my workouts in on True Coach, and it makes it really easy to be able to. What I like about that, I'm also a pen and paper guy. I do
Mhm.
like my to do list is in a notebook, like all that kind of stuff. But I really like not having to scroll like flip pages and try to find, oh,
Mhm.
okay, where was the. I love being able to hit exercise history
Yeah.
underneath the exercise,
Mhm.
and it comes up all the times I've done bench press in the last 3 years and the
Yep.
numbers. And every once in a while, it's fun to go for a ride and
Look
scroll
where you
back a
started.
year or a year and a half or 2 years, and you're like, oh my gosh, So,
Yeah.
but I think absolutely training, and like you said, either a digital or a paper is absolutely essential.
Absolutely, dude. And yeah, True Coach is the bomb. I love that exercise history button because coaches get to see that too with our athletes. So
Mhm.
we're tracking exactly how that's going, which kind of brings us into this next thing with tracking performance. We have like key performance indicators, KPIs that are used across the board as coaches. Logan, you're our programming guru, bro. So I want you to break down some of these KPIs. What are some assessments? And let's make it general for all rodeo athletes because some movements we test with everybody, all
Yeah,
rodeo,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So name a couple of those and what we would be looking for in trends and why we're tracking those.
Yeah, I would say first thing, a couple things that come to mind when thinking about rodeo athletes and looking for these key performance indicators is mobility, range of motion, right? I
Mhm.
want to be able to see an increased range of motion that they own, not just
They're strong in
flexibility.
those.
Yes, not just flexibility that we can maybe now we can get our arms straight up overhead, but are we
Or touch
strong in
our
that
toes,
position?
yeah.
So that range of motion and owning that range of motion, one of the biggest KPIs that I find that rodeo athletes are deficient in, range of motion is huge, but also their strength, just
Mhm,
basic baseline level strength in relation to athletes of their size in any other sport.
mhm.
Any other sport.
Yep.
And so strength is also one. As they get a little bit more advanced, then I'm going to also start tracking their power output, right? Like I like being able to look at power, but those are three. Also, we'll do some conditioning wise, like looking at their just their aerobic capacity
Mm,
and anaerobic capacity, starting out with somebody general prep or their aerobic capacity. And those really are the ones that come to mind that I'm looking at the most with rodeo athletes when they get started with me and wanting to see those metrics improve.
absolutely. Paul, you got anything to add to that list?
No, man, I don't think so. The mobility one, I think, is the biggest one. But when we're
Mhm,
talking about rodeo athletes, I feel like that is the biggest hindrance. Maybe not the biggest hindrance is like overall in terms of performance, but like the biggest, like the broadest across the
mhm.
Mm,
board. Almost
yep.
everybody is limited in mobility in some way, shape, or form. So that's always going to be the first thing that I'm looking for. And Logan said, like mobility, not flexibility. I can improve your flexibility in about 30 minutes. I can't improve your mobility. It's going to
Uh,
take minimum like 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Like we have to get
Mhm.
strong in that. So we need to see some progress. We need to apply stimulus over a long enough period of time to see results there.
I
Yes.
love that you said that you think that mobility is the broadest because I would totally agree with you also in the fact that when you talk to a bull rider, they're going to complain about their hips. They're going to
Yep.
Mhm.
complain about
Every
their
time.
mobility. They're not going to complain about their strength. So
Right.
they believe that mobility is one of their biggest hindrances too. Does that make
Mhm.
sense? And so it's like
Yep.
when you do that mobility work, they can really connect the dots. They actually there's a lot of face value there. They actually
Mhm.
see the improvements pretty quickly. And so
Could they?
it helps
Yeah.
them
Could they
provide buy-in.
unanimously see strength
I was just
improvements?
gonna say they
Like they
instantly do
could.
those simple exercises, and they're like, "Holy crap, dude,
Yep.
I'm weak." And it's, "Yeah, dude,
Yep.
you are
Yeah.
weak." And that
Yeah.
is yes,
Yeah.
it's very simple, but the truth is, those exercises, they light me up too. Like,
Yep.
I
Yep.
do them every day, and they still light me up, but that's the point is to get that to work those muscles and work that mobility and get strong in those end ranges of motion because that's where we run into injury is when we have those weaknesses at these end ranges, especially in the sport that we're talking about, rodeo. We are constantly at an end range of motion.
Mm.
It's with about this much control. About 3% is controlled, right?
Yeah,
So
well, I like what
go
you
ahead.
said there too because we're talking about progress, and it's the pursuit of perfection, it's never reaching it. You
Ooh.
Right.
be like, no matter how Doug, you're probably 20 plus years in this game. I think I'm at year like 16 of training consistently.
Mhm.
I'm still not there. You know what I mean?
No.
Like
Yeah.
you're never there because you once you improve, the goal line just moves further. And so
Mhm.
that's why it's important to track progress because if I always looked at the gap between where I want to be and where I am, that gap is consistently moving out further and further. So if I just look at that gap, it feels like I haven't made any progress in
Mhm.
16 years. But if I look at where I've gained, like, holy smokes, I'm light years ahead where I was.
Y'all, if you're having trouble sleeping or you've got really achy muscles, Power Pro CBD has teamed up with us to bring you their tinctures and their warming lotions. Guys, these have been a crucial part of my nightly routine. Y'all can check them out at PowerPro, PWRpro.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, to save you a good chunk at discount.
Mm.
Yes, and each step gets harder to obtain.
Mm-hmm.
It's and I was talking with my business coach the other day, and she said something that resonated so fiercely with me, and it was, for every level that you go up, you take 4 steps back to get to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that you're actually taking the steps back, it's that you're in uncharted waters, you're having to learn new skills, which takes longer. Those skills get more difficult and advanced as the levels go up. It's the same with everything, with fitness, with
Mm.
business. I would say it's not the same with rodeo, really. Minus the preparation, it's the basics still get everything done, like we've said a million times, but it's doing those things. Man, I was watching archery at the Olympics. We were
Mm-hmm.
talking about this, Paul, and it reminded me so much of rodeo or golf because shooting the bow, as 3 steps, 4 steps, and these guys and girls could do it probably with their eyes closed in a chill setting and hit all 10s. You introduce the pressure of the people, the cheering, the fans, the judging, it goes completely quiet when they shoot. Some of them fall apart
Yeah.
really, really easily, and
Especially because 'cause they're going head to head. Did you notice the heart rate thing at the bottom of the
yes,
screen? They're
super
displaying the
cool.
heart rates of the
Yeah,
athletes. I thought that was
awesome.
really interesting
Dude,
to
I'd
watch.
love to see that for rodeo athletes, hooking
Yeah.
them up some heart rate monitors, live action, and seeing what happens through it. I know Caleb and them have used a Whoop for it to see. I think, Logan, you
Yeah.
have too,
Yeah, I just used it for, like, maybe the last 6 months or so of my
but it
career,
actually
but
helped you. You used it to
I
your
was able to track
recovery,
my
your
heart rate while I
fueling,
was riding,
everything. Yeah.
and I noticed that I started it and didn't do any breathing, really any conscious, like, breathing techniques beforehand, and then I implemented some breathing techniques and was able to man, I could get my heart rate first used it, my heart rate would be like 170 or 180 when I was riding,
So did mine.
maxed out, and I was able to get that down to somewhere between 110 and 120 when I nodded my head. And my heart rate got higher in my warm up than it did when I rode. And it was just crazy to see that tracking. Yeah, I love being able to track the heart rate and see. And but having all rodeo athletes do that anyway, I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole on
I've already
that
done it.
on collecting
I've
data.
already
Yeah,
done it. We're
on
deep.
collecting data. But I guess it goes with what we're doing
Yeah,
because
it's
that
on
the
topic. It's on
objective
You're
topic.
is
tracking
to
everything.
yeah
Yeah.
get track that data and then being able to use that to make decisions on our training. You know what I'm saying? We want to be able to collect that information, whether it's as simple as probably the easiest thing to come to mind is are you doing more weight for the same sets and reps that you did last week? Or are you
Yes.
going up in reps? Or have you gone up in a set? Or what variable have you changed to make it a little bit more difficult over the last month? And that's one of the biggest things that we use the data, like you mentioned earlier on True Coach, exercise history. I can hit that tab, I can look at a client, I can see, okay, they've been at the same weight now for 5 weeks, or they've gone down in weight some. And then I'm able to have that conversation with them like, hey, how's life? Oh,
Mhm.
I'm pretty good. I'm like, okay, good. Really, how are you? Things have been a little crazy lately. And you could start to see, man, they haven't been sleeping as much as usual. Their nutrition's been off. Their life has looked like mine the last 3 weeks. And it's, oh, okay, now we can start to use the information. And it's all because they're tracking. This
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
all possible because they're tracking. We can use that information to start to make decisions about what is going to help move the needle for them. And I think that's the
Absolutely.
biggest thing about collecting that data is the decisions that you can make because you have the information.
And I think if you're gonna be trying something new, whether it's a supplement, a new fitness program, whatever it is, you should be tracking it at least the first month to see what's happening on the inside.
Mm.
And that's where wearables are really awesome. Like you said, I wear a Whoop. You've worn a Whoop for a long time. I think you guys are on the Apple Watches too. And you found what's the app that you guys are using? It's pretty consistent.
Athletic, I think.
Athletic? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I've
so if
been
you have an
tight. I
Apple
haven't
Watch,
bought it
check it
yet.
out.
I don't even. My watch is dead. It's been pretty
It's
sporadic the
yeah.
last.
It's not near as, like, precise as Whoop, and even Whoop is gonna have its flaws. Any wearable, especially on your
Whoop is
wrist, is
perfect. Get out of
yeah, I
here.
know. Any wearable, especially, like, the further away from the heart it is, like, the less accurate it's gonna be, but it still gives you insights. It's still data that you can make decisions
And
off
it's
of.
consistent.
If you
It-
have yes, it's consistent.
yeah.
If you have no data, you can't make those
Mm.
decisions. So
Ex-
that's, like, the biggest warning is you have to have some form of data, because if there isn't any, then you're lost in the woods.
So, last thing, this is another I'm down the rabbit hole, but we talked about supplements a few episodes ago, and we talked about liposomal supplements for a second, and they were the new technology we were talking about that it's liquid, it is absorbed at a cellular level, and it's supposed to be absorbed. I forget what the rate is over above a pill or powder form. Row supplements, RHO. They've been popping up everywhere on my Instagram, and I started looking into them. And so they have a lot of different things. They have a joint sup, NAD, glutathione, which is the most
Mm.
powerful antioxidant in the world. They have magnesium. They have a lot of different things, right? And I started doing a little bit of research, looking at their research on what they had, and it looked really good. I had a lot of questions about NAD because everything I've read about NAD is it's incredible, but it is really only absorb at an IM level. So in intermuscular,
Uh,
you need to have a shot or through an IV. there hasn't been not a lot of studies on liposomal, right? And
Mm.
so they have studied it, and they have actual studies that prove the absorption of it. And this is pretty cool. And Paul came here, and it was like I was like 2 weeks into taking these supplements, and I was noticing some big changes. But I don't know if you can see the graph, but that's my recoveries all
Mm.
month. And Rose started where all the big greens start.
Wow.
And the red is only because me and Paul went so damn hard when we were here hiking and going fishing that my body was like, no more. Like all the yellows leading up to that, I had slept like 4 hours. And it was
Yep.
wild what is happening with just even the stress management side of things for my body with those supplements. I'm seeing
Huh.
huge improvements. And so for me, it's not addictive for me to see that, but that's working. This
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
good
Yeah. Yeah.
thing. Let's
Yep.
continue to do this. And also
Yep.
I've changed up my fitness a little bit, I've been bored as hell with my workouts, so I've been doing different stuff, getting back to my CrossFit roots, but I'm doing it the champion living way, the correct way. And it's been fun. And you can see that those workouts are on my broadcast channel too. Paul, I was thinking you'd like them.
Yeah, I have been adding in some Metcons this week and stuff just to mix it up a
They're
little bit.
cool. Yeah, and like I know how all that works, and I know the pacing of it. And so like yesterday's workout was supposed to be an AMRAP, as many rounds and reps for 3 minutes with a 1 minute rest for 3 sets. And it was 3 power cleans, 6 push-ups, 9 air squats. Not bad. If you blow through that at full
Mm.
speed for 3 minutes and then rest 1 minute, you are gonna be messed up by that last set. And that just doesn't align with my fitness goals right now. I don't wanna be messed up. I wanna sustain. And what I knew is with my pacing, I could do the cleans, the squats, and the push-ups and the squats. I could do those in about 30 seconds. What that did for me is it gave me 30 seconds to rest before that next minute. So I turned into an EMOM, and after the third minute, I rested for a minute. I wasn't dying, but I wasn't like chilling either. Like I was working pretty hard. It was like a 6 point something strain, but I did that in 20 minutes of deadlift, and that was it. And I'm lit up today, boys.
Mm.
Like I'm feeling it. But it's been a really fun change. I've been enjoying the hell out of it, so I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm just getting to see how my body reacts with the workouts, with the supplements, everything. And right now, a good combo is happening, so I'm going to ride it out. We got sidetracked, boys.
It'll happen. But all of that allows you, I think that all of that gives you the data and the information that you need to be able to make those decisions and adjust
Their
the
feedback
mechanism used for
mechanisms, right?
feedback. Yes, that's
Yeah,
exactly right. That's exactly
exactly.
right.
So what we've been talking about there is more like self-assessment stuff, looking at our own tools, whatever we're using, whether it's trackable, not a guide, the log, the
Yep,
performance
training
log
log.
or training log, that allows you to look back on past performances and see what's going on. Where was I trending? Where am I headed now? Are we going where I want to go? What do we need to adjust? Or have I not been doing any of that? We can fix it all
Yep.
right there.
Yep.
Coaches, feedback. What are you guys? I don't know if I'm going to say looking for, but I think it's so important to have that external feedback from a coach, even as professionals with doing what we do.
I know where to take this. So when you're new, I figured it out. I got the idea. No, when you're new, so what's going to happen is you're going to progress really fast. And so like us having a lot of experience, we can see the future. We know what's coming next. When you're progressing really fast and you're new, you think this is going to last forever. This is awesome. I love this. Let's go. What's going to happen is as you progress those increments of progression, so let's say you're going up 5 pounds in weight each week, sometime around week 12, maybe week 16, that 5 pounds is going to turn into 2.5 pounds. That 2.5 pounds is going to turn into 1 pound. Like it's going to get smaller, and eventually you're going to stall out, and you're not going to be able to move the weight up from what you did last week. And you're going to say, what the heck is wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. It's time to change your program. And so where a coach comes in, a coach's feedback is they can see as that progress is starting to slow, okay, let's see if we can eke a little bit more out of that. Let's deload and we'll change course. Like now let's focus on a different aspect of your fitness for a little bit, or a different rep range, or whatever it might be. There's hundreds of ways that you can change up a program, but when that progress starts to slow, it's usually a good sign that it's time to change something up. And then you'll start to see quicker progress again. And then again, the process is going to repeat. It's going to go good for a little while, and then it's going to slow. And so I think that's where it's really nice to have outside eyes, especially when you're starting out. You get going long enough at this like we have, and we can see it in our own training. But even me, like even now, I'll get caught in that trap. Hey, I'm making great progress here. And then 3, 4, or 5 weeks in, because I'm able to make progress a little bit faster, just because the capacity that I've built up, it'll slow down or it'll
Mhm.
stop. And I need that little tap on the shoulder reminder that we've reached our limit here for now.
Yes. I love that you got into the adjusting programs because that's where we run into these plateaus if we're not coaches and don't know what to do and we just continue out on the plateau
Mhm.
like we were talking about with you in college and I did the same thing. Had no guide, no plan, just went and did the stuff and I didn't get that much better at anything. I learned my way around the gym really well. That was about it. But you have to be able to recognize these plateaus and identify what is the next move. And so the adjustments that we make to training programs, we've talked about this the last 2 shows too, but you have to start adjusting the intensity, quote unquote,
Right.
and that can be done in a lot of different ways. First way I'm gonna adjust intensity is probably different than what you guys are thinking, but I like to mess with tempo. I like to mess with the time under tension that they're at before I start increasing the volume, whether it's reps or sets. And that's just my personal preference. I'm a freak about wanting all my athletes to move really well before we start increasing reps or increasing weight, which is what we're going to do when we decrease reps. What do you guys think about that? What's your go-to on adjusting or advice for adjusting a program? It
Mm.
really depends on the goals,
Yeah, it
huh?
Yeah,
depends. Yeah.
depends on the goals, and it depends on. It's so hard to say without knowing the last 6 weeks of this example client's training load. But typically speaking, when we're getting to, if I'm gonna mess with something, and they've been on a program lifting pretty consistently for 6 weeks or so, and we feel like we're getting to a little bit of a plateau, I'm gonna put in what Paul alluded to earlier is like a little bit of a deload week, right? We're gonna take a week and we're just gonna go a little bit lighter. We're gonna focus
So,
maybe on
can I
mobility.
interrupt you for a second?
Yeah, yeah,
I'll give you a little example. So last
yeah,
6 weeks, and I think this is probably a pretty standard rep range and sets for most people that go in the gym and don't have a coach and have never been coached. It's 8 to 10 reps, probably about 3 sets of everything. 10
yeah.
reps, 3 sets, that's how I always started. So let's say they've been doing that for 6 weeks. You get them into this deload. Where are we
Yeah,
going after that?
we're gonna come back and I'm gonna start dropping the sets and up in the reps. Like assuming that tempo is great, assuming that form is perfect, all those kind of things. We're gonna start dropping. We'll go down and I'd do a couple weeks at if they've been at 10 reps, so they're gonna do a couple weeks at 8, and
Mhm.
then we're gonna progress into 6, probably move up to like 4 sets. But they're not like at 10 reps, they've been working on hypertrophy. They're not really building any strength there. And if they've been doing that on and off inconsistently for years since high school, then really the low hanging fruit is going to be the things that they've not been doing. What is it the Mind Pup used to say? The best program is the one you're not
The
doing,
one you're not
or something
doing.
like that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the one you're because so they haven't done any strength work maybe since high school or college. This is going to be an opportunity for them to really see some progress. So we're going to start to lower the reps. We're going to start to increase the sets. The weight's going to get heavier as they go,
Progressive.
progressively overloading as they can handle it with good form. And I think that's going to allow them to break through this. And in that situation, that example, that's a self-imposed plateau,
Mhm.
100%. And it's just from lack of stimulus change. It's just from
Mhm.
a lack of prior, like of planning, of
Mhm.
thinking out of periodization.
So if you're tracking and you're noticing some indicators of maybe a plateau or something, it might not necessarily be a plateau either. It could just be like some temporary setback, like what you alluded to earlier. The lifestyle changed. And
Mm-hmm.
so progress in the gym is going to also change. So stress is one of those things that is going to make a big impact on your training progressions.
Mm.
Mhm.
And so I had a client recently had kids were sick, or maybe he got sick, had some work stuff come up, went and got blood work done. His blood work was all off the rails. And he's, what is going on? And then I'm like, man, look at what's happened in your life the
Yeah.
last 2 weeks. Like, it's pretty obvious here that you're maxed out on stress wise. Like, we're not going to make any progress in the gym here because of everything else that's going on. And so that's why it's not only important just to track what's happening in the gym, but maybe on your training sessions too. Leave little notes about what's going
Mm.
on in life or what's going on throughout the day so that you can see those indicators too. That maybe it's not the training load that's too much, it's the life load
Mhm.
is causing this. And then in that case, maybe a one deload week might cure you and you can pick up on the program right back where you left off. Or maybe it's some other lifestyle factor. Maybe you got to give something up. Maybe you got to say no more often. It could be a number of different things,
Mhm.
but it's not always just the training in the gym that's going to stall out progress. It can be life as well.
Mm.
Yeah, dude. We've talked about this so many times, and you've got to do all of the things. You have to water all of the flower pots in order to have the full garden, right? And it's not gonna. I've had so many clients struggle with losing weight or gaining muscle or whatever goal it is, and so much of it be associated with their lifestyle and whether it's work, stress, or whatever. And your body can't change if it's so stressed out that it's just trying to survive. And so you've got to be aware of that. And that's again why tracking everything is important to see your progress. And Logan talked about progressive overload. Then he touched on periodization for a second. And periodization is basically what he was talking about, changing these stimuluses, right? Changing the focus. You have periods of a focus of training. We deload and then we change that focus. And that's to keep the body adapting and not running into these quote unquote plateaus. I hope this info was helpful for everybody listening. If you guys have questions, please let us know. We're always down to answer. I've been getting a lot more questions from listeners, so I appreciate y'all for asking. Guys, rodeo season is like coming to an end quickly. Holy smokes.
It's crazy how fast it's flying, dude. It's nuts. August. What?
What?
Yeah. Somebody mentioned Pendleton the other day on Instagram, and I was like, wait a second. That's coming
Yeah.
up. Holy crap.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so cool to see too, because it's for so long it feels like there's a lot of new guys inside that top 10, a lot of new guys, and it's like April, you're like, yeah, we'll chat in September. We're getting real close to September, and guess what? There's a bunch of them young dogs still in that top 10, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right, here we go. This is the best months of rodeo are left to be had in this season. August and September are the best months of rodeo. If you can stay healthy and keep going, the sky's the limit. And I think it's super exciting to see.
It is, man. It's going to be a really cool finish. I think across the board, there's going to be a lot of close races and a lot of bubble races. I think those last 3 holes in every event is going to be wild coming to the end. So I'm excited to see it. My athletes at least, have been really consistent with their mobility work, and it's showing in a big way. You can start to see those guys who have been taking care of themselves and rodeoing smart, and it's paying off. So I'm excited to see someone, if not one person, a bunch of people are going to win a ton of money these next couple months.
Yeah. Trying to get that Josh Frost kind of money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Damn. Frost kind of money. That dude freaking slayed it in June and July. Slayed it.
Yep. And got off the road and has been literally the day he got home was like, I'm ready. Let's roll. Let's train.
Yep.
Get back in the gym, lifting 2 days a week. Again, volume's really a lot lower than it normally would be, but we're starting to get that strength back that we lost over these last couple months. And he's got a big PBR season, and then obviously the NFR. Yeah, dude's crushing it. And he's going to be a new dad very soon. Even cooler.
That's exciting. I'm pretty fired up for my boy Cooper James. I know I feel like I talk about him on every podcast, but I'm like a proud dad. I've gotten to train with him for 3 years and seen him since he was 16. And man, he jumped out there and has been in the top 10 for quite a while. And I was like, all right, let's see if this will last. He just keeps knocking them down. They keep running him in. He keeps knocking them down. And it's been so much fun to see. He's got over 100,000 won already. It's dang sure not a lock. It's hardly ever a lock with the best 2 months of rodeo left and a lot of money left on the board, but he's getting awfully close to for sure getting in there. So that's really exciting to see. And there's quite a few others that are green and new and Wasey,
traveling partner.
And it's fun to watch.
It is, man. And Stetson Wright is out for the season again.
Mm-hmm.
You see that?
Little turn of events there.
Yeah.
Not really. Yeah.
I mean,
we planned on him. He was planning on coming back in like July, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I thought it was a lot sooner. And then he didn't. And then it just went silent. And then he released that he wasn't coming back this year due to injury. And I think that's probably a smart move by him, not pushing
Very
it.
smart.
Yeah.
Yep.
So hopefully
he's young, man. He's so young. He's got a long career ahead of him.
Such a long career ahead of him.
No point in ruining it now.
No, not at all. So I think that's a good move by him, but it opens up some things. It makes some things like the all around. I'm excited who's going to win the all around and see if another rough stock rider can do it. That would be insane. Absolutely insane. You guys got any big plans for the weekend? Logan's sleeping.
Yeah, not really. We got a barrel race tonight. We're back in barrel racing land. I bought my wife a horse the other day, or she bought a horse. I'd like to say I bought it, but she picked it out, and so she's got a project pony now because we need something else to do. So we got a barrel race tonight for Conley and the boys, and then Callan's birthday party is on. He turns 4 on Sunday, so we've got a birthday party for him on Sunday. And other than that, I'm going to try to get a bush hog and cut the grass that is my yard, or was my yard. Try to find my yard at some point in time, and just the house, just normal adulting stuff, the stuff that they don't tell you about in school. This is the kind of stuff they don't tell you about. That's right. They don't tell you about anything in school.
Yeah, the more I look at that, was a big failure. The waste.
Yeah, what a waste. Yeah. They definitely don't tell you how fast your grass grows. And so here we are, mowing grass.
Well, I'm glad you're back, dude. Paul, you guys getting into anything?
Rodeo tonight, hometown rodeo. But other than that, nothing.
Hometowner, you entered?
No.
Oh, come on.
Negative.
Now. Come on now.
Negative.
Come on. Negative. You could do it. You could do it.
Don't talk me into it.
Don't talk me into it. You should come over here and do the Whippoorwill Trail. They actually rode some bulls this year. I'm not gonna lie. We rode, like last year, I think they rode 2 bulls all man, not 2, but they didn't ride very many. This year, we rode 1 almost at every rodeo, sometimes 2. I was like, wait, what do I do with the numbers?
I already put my pencil away.
Oh, dude, it was a couple rodeos ago, and there's 3 bull riders left. We've already bucked off like 10 guys. There's 3 bull riders left. This kid jumps out, makes a pretty good bull ride. I don't even think about it.
95.
45. I'm just like 45. I'd reach up 45.
They ride like
good. Next guy jumps out
there. They did.
And I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do here? What is going on here? Which it wasn't quite 46. As good of a bull ride. So I'm like, 43. And then they didn't ride that. They didn't ride anymore. But I was like, okay. So unless it's the last bull rider, we can't throw the 45 out there unless it's the last guy to go. And he rides him. So yeah, I do be getting excited when they ride one. I'm like, yeah, all the points. Here's the clipboard. You write down your own score. But anyway. Yeah. So you come over here, make a lot of money. That's all I'm saying. You could get tuned up. You got a year to get ready. There's a little run over here.
Turns out we know the judge and the contractor, so this could be a really profitable thing here.
A really profitable thing. Oh, that's funny.
That's awesome, guys. Everyone listen, make sure you check out the Rodeo Now app. I've been checking that out a bunch. There's so many more animals getting loaded to that, people downloading it. It's free, y'all. You can track all of the rough stock. You can put timed event runs on there. You can sell horses, sell bulls. They've got a slow motion feature that you can replay all of your stuff on for watching your rides back. Like it's made for rodeo cowboys, stock contractors, and fans. Again, free to download. Rodeo Now. Check it out. Logan, what was I missing?
No, I just saw some jam up freaking hoppers for sale on there the other day. I don't remember how much they were, but I was like, woo, man. I'll tell you
OPA, what. Maybe let's buy for the OPA.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Somebody needs to buy them. They look good. But I love that you can get on there and just see what people have for sale and all kinds of stuff.
Man.
It is. It's super handy.
No, it is. Check them out. Like I said, free to download. And until next time, guys. We'll catch you later. Hui has the best gear because it's tough. It's durable. It withstands the test of what we put it through. And that is why I am a big supporter of Hui brands. Guys, from hats, apparel, whatever you need, they've got you covered. They are the perfect blend of rodeo style and athletic performance. You can check them out at huibrands.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, is going to save you a little bit at checkout. If you want to learn more about our coaches and program options, make sure to swing over to our website at www.championlivingfitness.com. You can fill out the Become an Athlete form to set up your free consultation and have all your questions answered by a coach.